Hey, what's going on? My name's Zach, and this is my Bonanza.
This Bonanza utilizes an Allison 250 turbine engine. It arrived in the mid-1980s in a collaborative effort between Allison and Saloy Conversions. The Allison engine cranks out 420 shaft horsepower and provides a huge bump in performance for the A36, which was originally equipped with 285 or 300 horsepower Continental piston engines. Zach is an informative tour guide to the Turbine Bonanza, and I had a blast as his safety pilot as we shot an RNAV for 3.5. Remember to like and subscribe, and y'all enjoy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Zachary Norman. This right here is my Bonanza. It is a 1980s Bonanza converted with the Saloy turbine. It's got a Allison 250 in it, and it is one bad mamma jamma. This thing is, you can do whatever you want with it. You can get in and out of grass strips. It'll climb like you wouldn't believe. I haven't found one thing that this aircraft can't do. I've taken this all across the country, managed to do a non-stop to South Carolina. Not so lucky on the way back, but this, all in all, is just a great aircraft. I was fortunate enough to find it a few years ago. Actually got my high performance complex in this aircraft after flying a Piper Warrior II for about 10 years. So it was a bit of an upgrade, but I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm ready to show it to all you guys. So ever since a young age, I've always wanted to fly. My parents allowed me to start flying before I could even get a pilot's license, so I would just go up with instructors and just fly around, have fun. I landed an airplane at like 12. And then when I turned 16, that's when I actually got with an instructor and started building up hours and flying. So this aircraft has a ceiling of 25,000 feet. I personally have not gone up that high. I've seen 14,000. Essentially, it does better up there. I just prefer to stay lower. I'm in no rush. I'm just a private pilot, so if I go flying, it's essentially just for the fun. True airspeed's about 200 knots, about 4.5 hours of fuel, depending on your endurance and how fast you're actually going to try and burn the fuel. Generally speaking, it's about 25 gallons an hour. I've got 114 usable on the aircraft. You got 2 tip tanks at 20 gallons each, and then 96 in, or 94 in the mains. You get about 300 to 400 feet roll on a full throttle takeoff. I personally have only done a full throttle takeoff like once or twice. You don't need it. There's no case whatsoever that you really need to go full throttle. And so I just go to max, continuous power, and 1,200 feet later, I'm getting a 2,000 foot climb rate. So as far as stopping, it does have reverse thrusters. You could stop faster than you want to. That being said, you never really have to do it. I very rarely touch the brakes. Just reverse, pull up to the taxiway and get off the runway. My biggest joy of flying is taking people that don't know how to fly or have never gone up, or even if they have gone up, they've gone up commercially where they're sitting in the back seat and everything feels formal and scary. I like to take people up, just have a good time. Generally, they're always scared when they first get in the airplane. Everyone's nerves kind of get there. But the look on people's faces like 30 seconds into the flight where they just relax and start looking around. You take them over their house, over places they grew up, or you have like a nice romantic flight around the Dallas area or some other skyline. That is what makes me have a lot of fun flying, just to be able to pass the joy off to someone else. And so I find a lot of joy in that. I do have an Instagram. I do post videos of flying the Bonanza. I also fly helicopters, so I post videos of flying the helicopter. My Instagram is zman98xx.
All right, you ready to go fly?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Check.
Gotcha.
Perfect. All right. Autopilot checked out good. Let's see, column 2.
980, density altitude 2400, flight name information not available.
All right. We look good. November 3.
November 353 Lima, Major Tower.
Yeah, November 3853 Lima is ready to taxi to the runway behind the FBO.
53 Lima, taxi to runway 35 at Kilo.
Kilo to runway 35 for 53 Lima, thanks.
So this is a turbine Bonanza. It's completely foreign to me and the Bonanzas I've been in before. What would you say, obviously, of the turbine? So, like, what are some things that you're watching out for on run-up?
You're going to look at your engine temp, oil pressure, same thing you would get with a normal, like, piston engine. But you're also going to want to look at your torque, see what kind of torque you're pushing out. What's different about a turbine engine versus a piston engine is you really only have one run-up per day. So say we were going to go fly to Galveston or Florida, for example, and we had to take a pit stop and get gas. You actually don't need, you have to do the pre-flight, obviously. You have to do the normal checks before you fly, but you don't have to do a run-up that you would with, like, say, magnetos. Like, you don't need to check your magnetos. A lot of the run-up stuff is first flight of the day.
Gotcha.
So I found that to be kind of weird. Like, you feel like you're missing something when you, like, don't spoil it up.
Your torque gauge here, what's that for?
So when we take off, we have limits, and you have two limits. You have torque and you have temp, your total temp. And for something like today, we're going to have a torque limit as opposed to a temp limit. If it's cool, we're going to have a temp limit before we have a torque limit. So you want to look at both, but just flying the aircraft, you're going to know that you're probably going to be over-torquing before you over-temp. Go ahead and spoil this thing up to 1720. All right, we're going to check the governor. When you push one, nothing should happen. Push the other one, nothing should happen. Push both, it's going to drop down. Should move back up to normal, and then you let off. And that was a good governor test. We already checked the annunciator panel. Check and make sure everything is in the green. Everything is in the green. We're going to check our de-ice. That is normal. And then we're going to check our, where is it? Prop. This is our intake heat. So this would be like equivalent to like if you had a carburetor, but this does not have a carburetor. We had to saw the TOT come up a little bit. Now it's going back down to normal. Everything is in range and we are good. Bring it back down to idle. And then you just go back to the normal pre-flight stuff you would do on a normal aircraft. So make sure the controls are clean and clear. Make sure your trim is how you want it to be, depending on your weight load. The flaps are up. The cowling, the cow flap, you want to leave open for takeoff and climb. And then once you get to your cruising altitude, you'll drop it back down. And then when you land, you open that back up. It's just help cool the engine. All right, I'm going to put the parking brake on and scoot up just a tad. All right. Tower's open for like another 10 minutes, so by the time we come back around, it's going to be a Class Echo, but we are currently taking off in a Class Delta. It is a weird one because you generally, is it?
Yeah, we're clear.
Everything's clear? All right. You're going to have to slam it a little bit, and then pull it back, watch your head. Door is shut and latched. We are good to go. Hey, Major Tower, November 3853 Lima, ready to depart, runway 35, and we'll be going northbound.
November 3853 Lima, Majors Tower, roger, wind is 020 at 4, runway 35 at Kilo. Clear for takeoff, north departure approved.
Yeah, clear for takeoff, north departure approved for 53. All right, here we go.
So what speed would you rotate in this airplane?
69.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal,
69, how about that?
phenomenal airspeed to rotate on. You can actually get it up a little quicker if you do like a short field takeoff.
Okay.
But 69 is the book for it.
Would that be like about 10 degrees flaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This one only has approach and then landing flaps, whereas like in the Piper you had 3.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different. All right, let's spoil this up just a little bit for you guys. We're gonna do a normal continuous power takeoff as opposed to an actual full throttle takeoff.
Wow, it sets you back in your seat.
And there's 69. So now as we pull up, we're going to make sure that the temp is not over temping, the torque is not over temping or over torquing. And we're making sure I'm looking at about 100 on the climb out. And then once we get a stable ascent, I'm going to slowly pull back this condition so we get to about 20. And the gear is up. We're going to go about, we'll go up and have some fun, and then we'll come back and do some approaches.
There's so much on the panel. I'm not, the biplane I fly down to Galveston, it's just real simple. It's just stick and rudder all day. It's easy, but there's so much to look at here.
What's funny is I grew up on a steam gauge analog system.
Yeah.
And I find that to be a lot easier than the glass cockpit.
Oh yeah.
Just because you get to separate the different components.
What was your transition like from the Warrior to this airplane?
Different.
Yeah.
Very different.
How long did you think it'd take you to be really comfortable?
I would say about 10 hours. I felt like I could fly the aircraft and not really have any quote-unquote issues. It was probably about the 20 to 30 hour mark that I felt comfortable with if something was to go awry. I felt like I really understood the aircraft. And what's ironic is I had to fly with an instructor to get insurance.
Yeah.
They did not want to give me insurance for this aircraft.
Lima, frequency change approved. Have a good day.
Yeah, frequency change approved. You have a great day as well for 53 Lima. Yeah, so we just blew out of their delta before we got out of it in distance.
Yeah, we were up in the 150 earlier, and it took us 10 minutes to get to get this high. This is great. So what's your cruise speed?
167. That's one of the downsides with this aircraft is a normal Bonanza, like a turbo Bonanza or even just a regular, piston Bonanza, would actually beat us in a quote-unquote low altitude race because with the conversion, the normal operating speed, and then how you go into I'm blanking on the name, but basically my yellow arc is the red line. So
right.
I think it's 210 is what the normal Bonanzas are, whereas 167 is the red line for us.
Okay.
But we get up to a higher altitude.
Yeah.
So let's find a little spot to poke out up here, get up above this stuff. Make sure we maintain VFR minimums at all times. Push the torque just a little bit and get this climb rate going back again. Yeah, I love this airplane. I've been able to stay out of a lot of weather. I like to fly around the 10, 11,000 range.
Okay.
Generally, but I'm not against going to higher altitudes. It's just we have oxygen tanks, so we certainly have the capability, but this is not a pressurized cabin. So you have two different fuel sensors and fuel filters that when you get up to high altitude, that actually converts over. And so you'll burn a lot more fuel on takeoff and land, or on takeoff than you will in cruise. And so it'll convert over. But generally speaking, everything is basically electronic now. There's not a whole lot of, you have your condition lever and your throttle.
Gotcha.
That's about all you've got. And then you run, so it has an engine-driven fuel pump, but you always run a electric fuel pump, and then you're given the standby if you ever need to, if the primary goes out. And I've had that happen before. It's not a big ordeal. But yeah, it's a turn it on and play with it kind of aircraft.
We're already at 6,900 feet. Look at that. That's crazy. That's so quick.
Yeah, and we're doing 125. We're not even doing max climb. The other thing that I would say with this aircraft is you get a lot more reliability. I flew a lot of IMC in the Piper, and looking back, obviously I'd still fly IMC in the Piper, but I feel a lot more comfortable flying in this, and it's not because of the instruments by any means. It's predominantly because you have the turbine reliability. If you can get this thing started, it's going to run The only time you can really get this engine to cut mid-flight is if you starve it of fuel. You know?
Yeah.
So we're going to get up above these clouds, and then I'll let you play around with it, see what you think about it. It's a little laggy on the controls, but I think it's just because it's a bigger aircraft. And then it's a little harder to slow down. This thing wants to go fast and it wants to fly. So getting it to slow down takes a little bit of, you got to be ahead of the aircraft. Okay. I think that's a good thing that you were asking earlier.
Yeah.
Is I could fly it at 10 hours, but I was a little behind it. You know, and now I probably have 300 hours in this airplane, and I know exactly what I need to do to slow this down. I can do a fast descent and keep it slow. I can do a slow descent and keep it fast. And I think that's what makes you, one, a better pilot, and two, a safer pilot. You have the aircraft?
I've got the aircraft.
You have the aircraft.
Where's my turn? Okay, right up there. There it is. Let's see.
Yeah.
I haven't been on G1000 in a long time.
Yeah, it is a lot in one spot.
I haven't sat side by side in a long time too. I'm usually tandem.
I bet that's goofy.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's cool being on the center line of things, so your feeling's the same on each side of your body. But
yeah,
I see what you mean. It is a little heavier.
It's got a little bit of a lag to it. You kind of feel like you're flying like a big aircraft, but you're really not.
What altitude do you want to top out at?
Whatever you want to do.
So I wanted to stop at 10.5.
So you want to stop at 10.5?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll let the airspeed build up to 165. Once you level out, we're going to go ahead and put in the cowl flaps. We no longer need that. Our fuel temp, oil temp is fine. Our TOT is perfect. We're well below the torque limit. If you want to do like steep turns and stuff, then this is the perfect airspeed to be at.
Okay.
So like 140 is our maneuvering speed. So.
And I think you got trim on your yoke, don't you?
Yes.
Maybe a couple clicks down, it's still climbing. There we go.
That good?
Yeah.
You also have this right here if you need to do that. But essentially, it's just a regular old airplane with a turbine engine.
Yep.
You get a little faster, you get a little better torque. Your takeoffs feel more fun, more cool.
All right, I'll get back to you.
All right, I have the controls.
You've got it.
I have the controls.
Traffic, 2 o'clock, high, 4 miles.
That's much fancier than my traffic, too.
Yeah, you also get radar, like weather radar, which is pretty cool. We'll circle back around. Let's see. Could you pull that iPad up and see where we are relative to SciPex? And now I'm going to pull just a little bit off. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep where the prop is pulling the aircraft instead of the airplane pushing the prop. Just a little more help, doesn't wear out the bearings quite as much.
Okay.
We're going to basically try and circle back down. So you can see here, 167, we get the red line. We don't get any type of yellow arc. And that's where those regular Bonanzas will beat us. But up at 12,000 feet, 10,000 feet or above, I mean, we'll cook you all day long. We were burning 24 a second ago. We're burning 15 right now at about generally our descent rate.
Okay.
Let's see, I like this spot right over here. And we'll just do a little circle spiral. Spiral down.
I think you told me earlier in your on the ground interview, but what's your range once you get up to altitude? I guess it depends on your altitude.
4 hours.
Okay.
4 hours. I made it to South Carolina nonstop, but that was with a hell of a tailwind. And then we obviously had stop on the way back. What else was? Tennessee and back nonstop, which was, we went into Nashville. And I had so much fuel. I actually have a lot higher fuel minimum than most people. I just prefer to be going the safe side because it goes back to I'm never in a hurry.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason to rush.
That's a good mindset to have. You don't miss anything.
What I do is I'm going to put some flaps out.
You want me to pull up your GVT plates?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Which one you want to start with?
Let's do the RNAV
3.5? Or 1.7?
Yeah, we could do 3.5. We'll go and do 3.5.
So just for context for everybody listening and watching today, you're doing your proficiency, currency,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So I'm your safety pilot. I'm helping you out, and whatever you need, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Let me know.
I may be having to fly to Tennessee. The weather's not looking too hot there, and so I'm just getting a few more approaches in, building up my currency, and making sure we're staying safe out in the skies. A pilot buddy of mine always says you'll never be stuck in the air. And it's true. I mean, at some point you will come
Until
down.
you are. Until you're in something that's not IFR capable or really bad weather.
You can certainly put yourself in a pickle.
Have you had any big learning moments in this airplane?
Traffic, 12 o'clock, low, 2 miles.
I mean, I've had the fuel pump go out on me. Most of my big stuff was in the Piper.
Okay.
The Piper, I saw a lot of... It starts off minor. I don't know if that's just like God's way of prepping you. But like my first big thing was... Do you see this aircraft?
Yep. Yeah, multi right here on your right.
Okay. No factor?
No.
Perfect.
No factor.
First thing was alternator went out. Not a big deal. Second thing, I had a fouled spark plug. Made it run a little rough.
Okay.
And then I had 3 cylinders lose compression on me on our way to the air, like coming back from College Station. And it like max cruising speed. It didn't run all that rough. It wasn't until you pulled it back that it started to really sound bad. And the run up was fine. There was no problem with the run up whatsoever. And so that was a little confusing.
Yeah.
And then me and Cameron, another pilot buddy of mine, we were going to fly to Broken Bow, just build some hours together. And I had both spark plugs fail on me on the same cylinder.
Oh my goodness.
And my mechanic at the time told me I needed to go buy a lottery ticket because that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I've never heard of it happening.
So,
wow.
Yeah. When it comes, there's going to be a time something comes, and
yeah.
You just got to make sure that you practice, engine out landings. And, ironically, that story about both spark plugs failing on that, the day before, me and that guy were doing engine out, like 180s at this little small airport, like skinny runway. That way, it was a game. It was basically who could get closest, and whoever lost had to buy dinner. That makes it fun.
Yeah.
Makes practice fun. And as we were doing that, we did like 6 or 7 of them. And the very next day when it failed, lo and behold, we were right over that airport. So it just worked out that we were like, oh, well, another, engine out experience. Let's go in and circle to land. And that's essentially what we did. All right, let's go ahead and set up and just I'm going to have autopilot do this. So we're going to go into procedures. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Let's put Golf Victor Tango. And we're going to do RNAV 3.5.
And about right here is when my GoPro decided to overheat and I lost all of my in-cockpit recording. So hopefully you guys were able to really get some insight into this airframe. Beautiful airplane, really great, just all around multi-purpose machine. Zach did a great approach for the RNAV for 3.5, even better landing as you're about to see. And if y'all hang on till the end, I'll also have included a video of the turbine spooling up on our start before we departed. Really appreciate you guys, and stay tuned for the outro here shortly. Zach, thank you so much for flying with me today.
Yeah,
it was great
awesome.
to tag along during your instrument currency flight. And again, we can find you on Instagram where exactly?
Z-Man98XX.
Z-Man98. Okay, XX?
XX.
XX. Got it. I'll put that in the description so y'all can find it. In the meantime, we really appreciate our patrons to our Patreon account. Hit that like and subscribe, and yeah, thank you so much.
Giga Maggies.
Heck yeah.